Hello and welcome back to Blue Tinted Glasses. I don't know where the intro was. Not sure what happened there, but welcome back. Yeah, hope you're all doing well. That felt weird. No audio. There we go. Right. Welcome back to Blue Tinted Glasses. It's Fox's Den. I'm joined by Nil, by Ragsy, and by Josh. I'll come to you first. Nil, mate, how you doing?
Good. Just snuck in on time. I see there, Locks. Doing a Ragsy is what we call that in the business, but well done.
Yeah. Very, very, very cutting it fine. I literally just saw a WhatsApp message from Anil as well saying doing a Ragsy. So there we go. Josh, mate, how's it going, pal?
Yeah, all good. Well, I guess as good as we can be right now. Feels weird. Actually, it hasn't been a game for the last few days, has it? So it's good little break.
Well, yeah, I think it's a much needed break. Every time I was just saying to Anil last night on the analysis that when the game finishes, I just have like a few days of rehab or recovery, and then next minute you get hit with another game and you're just like miserable again. So, yeah, pretty crap. Ragsy, mate, how you doing, pal?
Yeah, all good, mate. Actually been good. Just purely based of taking my mind off Leicester City. So yes, as contrary to people think that I'm not completely obsessed with the club all the time and stuff, and I do have other interests and stuff. But of course, get to talk about my favorite topic again with you guys. So yeah, we're good.
I'll tell you what, I really wish I didn't give a shit about Leicester City right now. I wish it didn't bother me, but it does. Let's just say hello to a couple of people who are here in the chat already. LCFC Forever. Sandip's here as well. Clibo, Kunal, Tripod Onions, Hamza, Zaid, Gray, Dawn, and Mark. Shout out to all of you. If you are watching, make sure to hit the like button and make sure to get your comment in throughout this stream. Okay, boys, so I thought we'd get together and have a little chat about the relegation battle that we have on our hands. And I've got, and just like a couple of weeks ago, I do have a tier list. I've got a tier list ready, and I thought we would fill it in together. Let me just remove that thing so we can actually see Josh's beautiful face. There we go. So interestingly, well, I filled the gap for the top one. I've put a lot of teams in that I think we probably all in agreement. They're not going to be tied into any type of relegation battle. Arsenal, Bournemouth, Villa, Chelsea, Fulham, Liverpool, City, Newcastle, Brighton, Forest, and Brentford. There are, of course, Man United and Spurs. I thought, well, we'll leave them down there for the time being, just so we can have a chat about them. So let's start off with them two. I mean, Man United and Spurs. And Nil, we keep joking on the channel that, well, you never know. Weirder things have happened. I mean, Ross keeps saying stuff about Man United being in a relegation battle. I mean, there is no way they're going to be there, are they? They're not going to be anywhere near the relegation zone come the end of the season.
If we weren't as shy as we are, I'm not sure. The only thing I'll say with both of these teams is there are reasons why they could go down. So we'll talk about Spurs in a moment when we get to them. But Man United, the thing is they're doing worse now than when Van Nistelrooy was in charge. And the reason why is he's got his system, he's playing his system, and that system is just not suitable for the players that they have at all. And so far, they haven't signed anyone this window. They probably are going to sign one player, but I'm not sure one player is going to do enough. So I think it's very unlikely because they do have quality throughout their team. But there was this article, I don't know if you saw it, I think it was either in the Guardian or the Telegraph, but someone was just basically saying the parallels between this season and the last time that Man United got relegated are actually there's quite a strong correlation. So I would have to say for obvious reasons, but I feel like they're trying their hardest to get relegated. That's honestly what it feels like with them. Every time they get a good result, they drop an absolute clanger. I don't know if you saw them against Southampton. Southampton were battering them. They should have lost that game, but luckily they did have that one player and that bit of class to kind of turn it around. But this is as poor a Man United team as you'll see in many a year, which is why it's even more painful. What's the aggregate score? 8-2 or something to them.
Yeah.
With us. Oh, painful.
Yeah.
But they are, mate. I think they will finish lower than many teams that you've got on this list. Put it that way.
Yeah, I do tend to agree. I mean, Ragsy, obviously, they've brought in. Let's stick with United for a second. I mean, Amarin's in. We I think everyone predicted this would happen. That they'd get another manager in and they'd still be pretty shit. So that's no surprise. But do you see any possibility, Ragsley, in which Manchester United will, get relegated? Because I don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, it would just be hilarious because I don't really sort of speak about other clubs too often and stuff, but like in particular with the so-called Big Six, I just absolutely despise them and their arse licking and their like so-called establishment and stuff, trying to just trying to fluke off their way to the Super League or something, just gaining all the rights for like international revenue and stuff. I'm sick of it. So any opportunity to try and relegate any of them, absolutely, I'm all for it, and we should be pushing. But unfortunately, I just think like the three that I think will go down, I just believe are just unbelievably shit. So even though United would sit here and try to, I mean, with Amorim, I think he is a smart appointment for them, but he wasn't really like the lead candidate for Ineos. So it is very sort of peculiar why they sort of went in that direction. But I think maybe they might have stumbled across the right one. So I do think they need to persist with him. But they need to they don't have the right profile of players. They're not geared towards that system. You play at the back and it's all intricate and stuff. So, but
they're gonna have to. He's gonna have to try and slowly, right? He's gonna have to try and slowly imprint his take on the club. But the thing is that in a year's time, they might be in a similar position and they'll just sack him. That's what will happen. You just know it. Josh, any chance Spurs or United go down there? I've just seen that Solanke's now injured for Spurs. They've had some bad injuries. He's now got an MCL. He's not going to be out. He's going to be out until April. So he'll be missing the game this weekend. Noah Dogi. I mean, there's a little hope for us, but yeah, any chance of them going down?
I think Spurs is an interesting one. I think, obviously, you just touched upon Amorim. Obviously, I think Postecoglou's got a high chance to get the sack. Obviously, there's been a bit of talk about that. But I think the only way I think Spurs are in a massive battle is if they get more injuries. But by the looks of it, obviously, you just said with Solanke, you never know. So I wouldn't put it past them. But I just think in terms of, I think, obviously, if they do sack Ange, they're probably going to get some sort of bounce and they'll probably be all right in the end. But I think trying to be positive about it, I think there's always a chance. They got Maddison in there who's getting a lot of stick right now, similar to how he was in the season we got relegated. So you never know, but I think they'll get the bulk of their squad back sooner rather than later, and I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, Anil, mate, over to West Ham. I mean, at one point, it looked like they were going to be right down there in the relegation battle. I'm not saying that they're completely out of the water just yet, but they obviously we beat them. That's like you're not going to be that good if we beat you, although we did beat Bournemouth and look where they are. But they've got Potter. They had a poor result last time out. But do you think Potter will steer them clear of the bottom three come the end of the season?
This is an interesting one because for me, even when they had Lopetegui, even though they were really bad, I just always looked at their squad and thought, how is this squad anywhere near relegation battle? They've got loads of good players at the right ages. I think if you look at some of the other teams, Man United have got a lot of people that I think are either past it, like Casemiro and Eriksen, or players that just don't fit the profile. Spurs have literally got an entire first 11 that's injured. And I also think a mistake they've made is they bought all these young wonder kids who are prospects for the future, but they can't do it now. But West Ham have got people like Max Kilman, Premier League proven. I don't think he's a top player, but he's a good player. Kudus is a wicked player. How they got him, I don't know. Edson Alvarez. So in my opinion, I don't think they were ever going to go down, in my opinion. I think they're massively underperforming. I think for how much they spent in the summer, they need to have a long look at themselves that, a lot of other teams are really making them look awful. But for me, I wouldn't even go just safe. I might go as far as saying avoid relegation battle. They could be one of those that even at the end of the season, they're only 6 points clear. But actually, in reality, they never go to the bottom three. They never really look close like going to the bottom three. I just think their squad's good. We'll see with Potter, but you never know. I mean, maybe if the fans get on his back, he doesn't look like he handles pressure too well. But I mean, if they've got 60 million to spend on John Duran, there's not many teams in the bottom that can do that in the January window, are there?
I mean, are we having West Ham above United and Spurs? You know what I mean? Because we've got Man United and Spurs.
So for me, yes, that's one of the teams. And there's even one more that I think could do it, but we'll discuss them in a second. But yeah, I genuinely think if I looked at I think fair play, if Spurs had all their players totally uninjured, they have got the better squad. But because they don't, I think West Ham right now, they've got a lot of quality coverage in many areas. And again, if you look at their squad, they're underperforming. They should be. I mean, they were trying to, I think, attack Europe, if not go for the Champions League this season in the summer. You know, got Nicholas Fulkrug. They spent 31 million for. I think he's only scored like 1 goal, which of course would be against Leicester. But you know, it just sums them up.
Yeah. Ragsy, mate, what's your take on West Ham now? Obviously, with their new manager, do you agree with where Neil's put them, or do you think it might be a bit closer, a bit tighter?
I think it might be a bit closer, to be honest. I think with Potter, and I'm not saying this just as a gripe, just because, you know, like of what happened with our sort of connection to him, but like I do sort of see him as a bit flaky, where I don't really sort of know what his ideas are, and it, like basically with West Ham, they're trying to transition away from David Moyes and start being a progressive team. But we've, you know, when we're trying to do it under Puel and stuff, like it takes a long time, and you have to implement the right profile of players and stuff. And even though, like, you look at their window, their summer window especially, and you think, yeah, God, like there's so much talent that they brought through. They spent a lot of money. They really are massively underperforming. But I think, yeah, you know, based on quality, they'll be fine. Tottenham, they need to sack Ange. I mean, if we somehow get a result against them, they need to get rid of him, because, like, yeah, okay, he's this exciting brand of football, but it's for the sake of the neutrals, not for Tottenham. Like, I'd hate it. They need some sort of pragmatism there. They can't do it with the current squad that they've got with these long list of injuries, and primarily he's been the ultimate reason as to like putting them under so much strain as to why they're actually getting injuries and stuff. So I will. So then I think Tottenham will be fine as well.
Yeah. Josh, West Ham, what are your thoughts on them, mate? I agree with what Rags said, by the way. I just feel like his whole energy over the last 18 months has been bizarre. Like he's a guy that, you know, he was at Brighton. Obviously, he was at Swansea, but let's start with Brighton. He was at Brighton. Some people say that the recruitment, you know, flattered him. Obviously, De Zerbi came in and did better than, you know, outperformed Potter, you could say. He went to Chelsea, flopped hard, and then he's been and ahhing, refusing jobs like left, right, and centre. Was it because he was getting a big payout? Was it because he was waiting for England? We don't know exactly what it was, but he turned down Ajax, for God's sake. A club the size of Ajax. He turned down Ajax. And to get West Ham, I mean, what's this all about, man? Talk to me, Josh.
No, I think you're spot on. I think it is strange. Like, yeah, I obviously wanted to take some sort of break from football. I think he said in an interview, he's like had like 8 years straight in management, which obviously can understand. But to reject so many jobs does seem weird. Obviously, just like Ragsy mentioned, I think obviously the links to Leicester and whatnot rejected us numerous times. But it does seem slightly bizarre. I think in terms of West Ham, I think obviously he will get back there, which is probably part of the reason why he was never wanting to go to Leicester. I think you can tell that from the summer transfer window, just like a Neil mentioned, the amount of talent that they've got there. So I think it's a club who can obviously push on towards Europe later. I think, you know, they've got the stadium and whatnot, the facilities to do it, and they've done it before in recent years. So I think it's an awful move for him, but I think obviously, just like you mentioned, he rejected Ajax, so there's a lot better there for him. But yeah, I think West Ham will be fine. I wouldn't put them in a void. I think they'll just be safe, but I think they'll be probably about 16th or 15th, something around that.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch around one team here. I'm gonna bring West Ham down to just safe, and I do think Man United will finish above both of them personally. I think Tottenham, with the injuries that they seem to be getting, and now Solanke out, I just think they will struggle a bit more. But we'll see. We don't know the answers. If we did, then we wouldn't be sat here doing this, would we? So let's move over to Palace. Anil, what are your thoughts on Crystal Palace, mate? Because they had a rough start to the season, but they have turned it around under Glasner, mate, and they've a lot of draws, but they are looking like a much better team now.
So that was going to be the other team I was going to say that for me will avoid the relegation battle. It's weird because we've played them, and I would say for probably out of that 180 minutes, maybe 140, 150 even, we outplayed them and we looked the better team. But I just look at their squad. It's really, really good. I think actually now they've worked out how to replace Olise. It was with Ismail Assar rather than Daichi Kamada. Eze is some player. Mateta, I think, is underrated, scores good amount of goals. Their defense is really good. They got a great manager. I think they're a good squad. I think as a team and as a squad, they are way better built and set up actually than Spurs and Man United. Whether or not they'll finish above them, but I could see it. I just think, again, they're underperforming, which was a bit weird. But I just think when I see them play, they look pretty good. So, yeah, I don't think they're in any threat of going down.
I would agree with it, Ragsy. What are you saying, mate, with Palace?
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. I was really surprised with them for the start of the season that they had, and I know they sold I know it kind of sort of understates how much of a loss from the outside looking in that Elite it was, and then you sort of see the wonders that he's doing at Bayern Munich, and you're thinking, wow, yeah, they really had some player there. But yeah, just you look at the starting 11, Mateta's a bagsman, that's just pivotal, just getting those goals in. It seems like their defense is starting to blend in, and it's like they've got a good partnership with Gahey and the Quarry. And then they have that robustness, and they can be lethal even when they don't have large spells without the ball. So yeah, they'll be fine. They'll be fine.
Josh, Crystal Palace. We took Zaha and Edouard off their hands in the summer. They thought that it's not Zaha. Sorry, what man about?
You wish. You wish we took Zaha off them.
I wish. Ayew and Edouard off their hands. They were a bit gutted to be losing Ayew. But like I said, tough start to the season, but they seem to be turning around, mate. You think they'll steer clear of any relegation battle?
Yeah, easy. I think that the recent form is impressive as well, isn't it? I think back-to-back 2-0 away wins at West Ham, and obviously if you can do that, I think they'll be absolutely fine. And yeah, I think Palace they'll just be like Palace. They've got their team isn't going to set the world alight, but they've got some great attacking players. They've got a strong back line. Obviously, they've lost Chalobah, gone back to Chelsea, which would be a slight hit for them, but I'm sure they'll be all right under Glasner. They ended last season quite well, so I can see them doing the same, really. But yeah, why their fans were upset to see Ayew leave, I do not know. But yeah, they've replaced him well in the likes of Saar, haven't they?
Yeah, well, yeah, who knows? Who knows? Okay, that takes us on to Everton. Now we're getting into the juicy stuff, boys. I don't think anyone here out of the teams I don't think any of the teams that are left will be anything above just safe. So these last five will be fighting out. What do you think, Anil, to Everton, mate? Because again, they just seem to somehow stay up every single time. They've got their new stadium coming. They've just been taken over as well, I believe. They've sacked Sean Dyche. They've got Moisey back. I mean, Moisey's going to keep them up, isn't he? You just know it.
He's the cheat code. They are. Someone's just put it here. Everton have 9 lives. They'll be fine, unfortunately. Everton are a floater, aren't they? They're just a turd that they won't flush. Doesn't matter how many times you're pulling on that chain. Ain't going to happen. Man, sliding doors moment. Maddison scores that penalty. It's probably them in the championship. And I think they'd be in massive trouble if they went down to the championship. It's us instead. It's funny. I think they have a terrible squad, but Moyes will find a way. I think, to be fair, it looks like they're backing him in this window as well. So they'll probably get the 1 or 2 signings they need to do it. So yeah, he'll keep them up. It won't be, exciting. It'll be ugly. The funny thing is, I know they got rid of Sean Dyche. I think they'll just stay there with Sean Dyche as well. I think they're both like that. They'll just play that turgid football and grind it out. And I think they've got the squad to do it. So yeah, they'll be safe. I don't think they'll be massively clear. Although it is interesting that already they're starting to pull away a little bit from the other teams.
Yeah. Ragsy, mate, I mean, I don't know if you watched the highlights or watched the match, Tottenham versus Everton. It's not a massive surprise that they beat Spurs, but I'll tell you what, I saw the game. I saw Calvert-Lewin turn into R9. I'm like, what is going on there? But Ndiaye, who obviously scored against us with a bit of magic earlier in the season, his goal against Spurs, I thought was absolute quality. And I looked at him, mate, and I don't care what you think about Facundo Buonanotte, Steffi Mavididi, even Abdul Fatawu. We have not got anyone in our squad that can do that. Not even El Canoes, because he's not really, the end product guy. We haven't got anyone that could do, in my opinion, what NDI did in that game. It's just somebody to take the game at the scruff of the neck, bring up a bit of magic, and there we go.
Yeah, I agree. Just someone with that drive, go on the half turn and just have a shot, have a go, create a chance, put a
step over, ball in the net, easy, mate.
Can I just say though, that we're looking at 5 inherently shit teams here. This is like scum right at the bottom of your cup of tea and stuff, and it's just like absolute no. Like, this is just inherently shit. However, like with Everton, I mean, yeah, they're just so stubborn and stuff. And I thought, like, I was thinking, really, like, I know it's not great under Dyche, but then I get it, like bringing in Moyes and stuff, and they're still going along that similar system, so there's not going to be too much of a hard transition. I think there was one point they were going to try and go for Mourinho, which I think would have been an absolute car crash. And but no, I think they've been smart with this, and they got a robust defense. They got some good defenders in there, decent enough midfield. I know they're taking some hits with Onana going recently, but it's just the goals really as to like how many like. But if they're going to be backed in this window and stuff, like even just enough just to add some depth to it, then I think they'll be just safe, but they'll be fine.
Yeah, Josh, mate, what are your thoughts on Everton? Are you in agreement with all of us that they'll be just safe, or do you want to, are you thinking maybe they might go down?
I think they could go down if the other four had anything about them, but sadly they don't. So yeah, I'll be very surprised if Everton are down there. Just like I said, I think it would go down to the wire. Obviously, they've had the semi-new manager bounce on the Moyes, so we'll see how long that progresses. But I think it will progress in terms of their upturn in form. Obviously, we played them in a few weeks, which is a big game. But I think there's a real good feel factor back around Goodison Park. I believe they're free of all kind of PSR issues as well. They've got Moyes back, their old manager, moved to the new stadium. So yeah, I think it'd be a massive shock if Everton go down. And I think they've been in much worse positions in previous years, obviously, especially this season when Leicester went down.
Yep. So we've got Everton in just safe. Now, let's change something here, right? So we've got 4 teams left, and I was gonna say they're all battling it out for 17th place, but I actually changed my mind. That's not true, is it? Because are we all in agreement that Southampton are rock bottom?
Yeah.
Anybody want to disagree with that?
There needs to be another tier for them. They're just
could it be us?
Could
it be us?
Sorry, I want to jump in there. I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibilities that they don't finish 20th.
They are shit. They are please just give.
They were 2-0 up against us, and if it wasn't for that stupid red card,
no. I thought we're bad. Yeah, like these lot, I can't even fucking tie their shoelaces and stuff, and then go out and play like under Russell Martin is disaster. You look at them from last season; they're probably even one of the easiest teams to play against in the championship. They just handed it to you on the play. Like
we thumped them twice.
Yeah,
Russell Martin's gone.
Yeah,
not the manager anymore.
They're gone.
All right. Well,
I'm not saying they're not going to survive. I mean, they cannot survive. But what we're asking here is who finishes 20th? Is it Southampton?
Yes.
Yeah.
They are officially relegated in March.
Josh, go on then, because obviously Anil and Ragsy are arguing over this one. Josh, go on. What do you think, mate? You think Southampton will finish bottom?
Yeah, 100%. I think they'll be worse than Derby's points. Easy.
What is Derby's record? 12?
11. Is it 11?
11, yeah.
11,
and they're on 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be tight. It could be
It's gonna
tight.
be close,
I understand the debate you wanted to have there, Anil. However, I think it's only fair to put Southampton to put them last.
100%.
So now we do have 3 teams fighting out for one spot. Let's just look at a couple of comments before we get into it. Manoj says Saints are defo down, Southampton gone. Michael says, Anil, I agree with you. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up rock bottom. I think as well, though, Anil, why I kind of do see where you're coming from with it is that if the bad run of form continues for us and it's just obvious we're going down, I think the players could just give up. They could just literally give up and stop playing. And Southampton, who are probably already on the beach, they might pressure free. They might just pick up a few results here and there and overtake us. I mean, we played them, we played them and Ipswich in the last 5 games. So that could be a game where they go above us. But no, we will stick with Southampton in last. So that does leave Wolves, Ipswich and Leicester. 2 of those teams are strengthening their squad this window, it appears. One of them isn't, although we have signed Koulibaly, to be fair. But I think, Anil, this whole discussion comes down to whether Wolves keep Cunha, because there are rumours flying around today that Nottingham Forest are going to break their transfer record to bring in Cunha this January. That would be scenes for them, bad scenes for Wolves. But what are your thoughts on Wolves, mate? Anil?
that's what everyone says, and I do agree that if they sold him, that might be that gives probably the tractor boys a way to overtake them. But the thing is that their coach Vitor Pereira, he has this reputation of falling out with players, and he's already fallen out with 2 or 3 of them. He's fallen out with Lemina and Cunha already, right? And as it goes on, have a look at their results. They had the new manager bounce, but they had one more game, I think, more than us in terms of getting points, but they've actually been on a losing streak themselves, and things could get toxic there too. So they will probably strengthen their squad, but the thing with them is they don't always bring in quality. They bring in, like, basically, I swear, they just go into Football Manager, randomly throw a dart at a Portuguese team and just sign a player from a random Portuguese team. Sometimes they end up being amazing. Sometimes they end up being not so good. So it depends. It's unfortunate because the thing is that they are really, A, not that good, and B, I think their squad comparatively is really underperforming. But the problem is that the other 2 teams have squads that are so bad that it might not matter. So I'm really on the fence of this one. But what I'm saying is I feel even if they keep Cunha, you would think that would be enough to keep them out. But it depends, because you might get a sort of weird thing where the star player falls out with the manager and it's just super toxic because you've got a big ego. Like sometimes, look at Alex Ferguson. How many times did he get rid of a player who had a big ego? And sometimes he admitted he made a mistake. Like he got rid of Jaap Stam. He got rid of Van Nistelrooy at some point, right? But most of the time, he got rid of the egos and then he kept the team dynamic and they worked. So keep an eye on that one. I don't think it's just as straightforward as people think it is.
Yeah. I didn't know that, by the way, that he's fallen out with Cunha, the new guy. If you're coming into Wolves, there is one guy you cannot fall out with in the first month, and it's Cunha. But that's not a good sign. Ragsy, mate, let's just talk about Wolves here. Where do you think they will survive? Because I mean, if you say they survive, mate, we know who you've got down for the other 2. But yeah, what are you saying on Wolves?
I don't know. I can't. I just think they're very similar to us at the minute in terms of how flaky and just there's a load of turmoil behind the scenes and stuff, even with the squads, and there wasn't really like that much of a manager bounce. I mean, we kind of assisted them in their manager bounce by starting playing that game. Less said about him, the better, as per usual. We move. And but yeah, I just think if they did lose Cunha, or even if he stays, but he's still like kicking up the fuss. Like, I don't know whether you saw the Chelsea game, but his lack of work rate to even sort of get out, and like it allowed the Chelsea sort of like goal scorer for their first goal. It allowed him to stay on side, and that's just an acceptable sort of a work rate from him. So either way, it's not really like a blessing either way, just that he stays or something. So I think they could go down. And it might be bold here because, like, I don't know, it could change day by day for me, but I still think, like, if they lose him, who in their squad is there to come back? Whereas I will come to us in a minute. Whereas I see us not having our strongest team at the minute, but them, I think they're putting out the strongest they can. They could be backed, but I don't know. I think they could go down.
What are you thinking, Josh, on Wolves, mate?
Well, it's fair. The more Ragsy and Anil said, I'm quite tempted to put them down there. I can't lie, because I expected a lot more. Because yes, they had their slight bounce, but they've been so poor at the start of the season. I thought they were just going to turn around as soon as Gary O'Neill went, but they haven't. They haven't, and I believe their squad was good enough. But the more and more I look at Wolves, I'm beginning to doubt it. And you mentioned the toxicity; it was getting really toxic. Obviously, under Gary O'Neill, that incidents with the players pushing each other and whatnot. So I don't think it's far away from getting to that again. But I think it depends in terms of the likes of Ipswich and Leicester, in terms of players coming back and whatnot. But you know what? I'll stick Wolves down there in the bottom 3. Why not?
Well, we can always move them out afterwards because we've got 2 other teams to speak about. So we will put them in the relegation zone for now.
Can I just throw something in here quickly?
Yeah.
Here's maybe a question that's sort of separate to this, but I think it is worthwhile, right? How long does the relegation battle go on till? Right? Are we looking at a last day decider? Do we think it's going to be wrapped up between 2 or 3 games to go? I think I think it might go to the last day. I don't think all three teams will have a chance of being out of it on the last day, but I think two of them might be. But that's what I'm saying. I don't think that Wolves are so good that they would pull away, whereas Everton, I think, would. Yeah. That's just where I'm seeing it right now.
Yeah, I mean, like, because, yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying completely. I agree. I don't think it will be, all three could survive on the, all three of the bottom three could survive on the last day. I think probably just 18th place, right? I think there will be a fight for 18th or 17th place on the last day. Ipswich. I mean, a lot's been made of Ipswich, I think, this season. Like, because in the summer, there were some signings that raised a few eyebrows. I mean, they brought in Calvin Phillips, for example, Jack Clark, who I think is an exciting player from the Championship, Sammy Smodics, joint top scorer last season in the Championship. A lot of Championship, but this window...
Yeah.
Hutchinson, exactly. But this window, they've so far brought in Ben Godfrey. They've brought in Jaden Philogene, and they've now brought in how do you say David? Enciso. So they've strengthened. That's without a question. Anil, what do you give their chances of staying up, mate? Because let's be honest, we're helping them out. So are Wolves. We're giving them the best chance possible, really.
This is an interesting one. There's a comment here. Ipswich have a better squad than us. But let me ask you a hypothetical question. If we'd have spent, let's say, 120, 130 million in the summer on the Championship All-Stars, and then at home, at the King Power, an out-of-form Man City turn up and dick you 6-0 in your own backyard, what do you think the call-in show would be like on a Monday, Locks? What do you think the instant match reaction would be like afterwards? I think that a lot of people would be saying, Rodkin out! They've got all this garbage! All these Championship players are not good enough for the Premier League. What are we doing? Right. So, I don't know. For what it's worth, I don't know. What I will say is that purely from I've said this to you guys a few times, right? It's like if you choose your strategy and then you execute against your strategy and you see if your strategy is going to work or not. It could be the right strategy. It could be the wrong strategy. Their strategy is we're going to buy young players who are good, who could make it in the Premier League. But if they don't make it in the Premier League, we know they're good in the Championship. And therefore, we'll either sell some of them on for more money or we'll just cane the Championship next season. So that's true. But they're saying they have built for both scenarios. But I think the thing you could question there is that maybe they could be in a position where they think, do you know what? If we'd have just signed one or two more people that were Premier League proven, like if we'd have just signed one Jordan Ayew, that might have got us out of trouble. Right, that's probably a bad example. Probably people are going to get clipped up and laughed at for even saying that, but it's possible. So I don't know. And look, I think I'll give them credit. They did strengthen their team in the window, right? But is that going to improve them when they're conceding 6 goals at home? Not sure. And if you look at their result, I mean, the thing is, they definitely have the support to get behind them. They've obviously got the best manager, I think, out of any of the teams in the bottom 4. That's not even up for debate. So that could be enough to get them out, and they've still got momentum. But I don't know. I think if you really look at it carefully, I don't think their squad is that good. It's got potential, but in terms of is it ready right now? No. And I don't think it's as cut and dry to say that they've got a better squad than us. Just because you spend money doesn't mean that you have a good squad, right? It's the here and now. Spurs have done something similar. Like that Lucas Bergvall does look like a really good player, but he's not a good player right now. He's costing them goals. Archie Gray, what's he done? Scored 2 own goals or something for 40 million quid. So, not sure. You'll notice that basically for both this and Wolves, I've completely dodged the question of if I think they're going to get relegated or not. So I'm properly got splinters up my arse here. But I do question, here's a good question. Who's got the best squad in that the bottom 4 teams? In my opinion, is easily Wolves. I don't know who the next squad is, to be honest. That's an interesting question.
No, yeah, I personally think it's Wolves, Ipswich. I do think Ipswich have got a better squad than us now, but a couple of them players are on loan, right? They're not permanent, but then I suppose you could say we've got Buonanotte, right, who's on loan. So you take Buonanotte out of our team, out of our available players, it's like, well, you've lost quite a bit.
Why did they not sign a centre back, Ipswich? That's what I don't get. In my opinion, I don't
Godfrey.
think yeah, but he's not a centre back though, is he?
Yeah, he's versatile, isn't he? He can play. I hear what you're saying though. Like Sam Morsey is not a Premier League player in my opinion either. Like there's another one, he's not a Premier League player. Smodics, you could say is not. He's a good. I mean, he's had one good season. That's unfair, but one really, really good season in the Championship, and now he's in the Premier League, probably out of his depth. Ragsy, Ipswich. What are your thoughts on them, mate? Do you think they have enough to stay up with the other teams around them?
I really think they're going to struggle, and it's not for the lack of trying, because I just think they've got a very limited scouting network. I think they're just looking at names that have played in and across the EFL and just tried to bank on that for the sake of experience. But I think what they're building is a Championship super team, really. So like, even if they did go down, they're not exactly like breaking the bank because they're not really in any debt, so they can just be like afford to like go all out and stuff and not really to face too many sanctions if they were to go back down. They've still got like good owners behind them. McKenna, like, I think it would just be a question of whether they keep him for next season, but it would, I probably think it's just a little bit too much too soon. Like how we sort of like thrusted and when we won the league, and then afterwards it was our first time in the Champions League, and we're like, oh, okay, let's try and like venture into Europe and stuff and see what sort of gems that we could get. But we just knew nothing about that sort of market, and we were just misprofiling and stuff. And I felt like it was just a bit too soon for Ipswich. I think if they had a bit more planning behind the scenes, but because of the back-to-back promotions and stuff, I think it's just come a bit too soon. Yes, I think if you look at it on paper, when you look at some of their signings and stuff, like, okay, they have more technical ability, but with the amount they've actually signed, none of them are really sort of gelling. I don't see the team chemistry there, and I don't think McKenna really has the answers at the minute to formulate a solution for this season. So I think
you said something there that we've all said, which is they've built a Championship super team. I mean, Josh, I don't know about you, mate. Even taking potential points deductions out of it, I think if Leicester and Ipswich get relegated this season, Ipswich will finish above Leicester City next season in the Championship.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right, and that's the thing. It does remind me slightly of what Forest did in terms of the volume of players coming in. I think obviously it's more English based for obviously from the leagues, but I think individual wise they have got players there. That's my only worry, I think, because I think Ipswich, they've got 6 points from Tottenham and Chelsea, which obviously stereotypical of the big six. Leicester haven't got anywhere close to, obviously got the point against Tottenham, but I think Ipswich have got kind of that more shock result in them, and I think there's a much better feeling around their club in terms of the fans. The manager obviously has loads of credit in the bank and whatnot, and that is my only worry. It sounds a bit cliche, I know, but in terms of a relegation battle, those type of things can obviously help you. And I think Leicester's extremely toxic right now, protests and whatnot, if you want to compare them. So I think in terms of a squad, Leicester just about edge it, but I think Ipswich, in terms of the individuals and the individuals who can make stuff happen, I think they probably edge it. Obviously, we spoke about Ndiaye for Everton. I think they've got players like Liam Delap who can get a goal out of nowhere. I don't think Leicester particularly have that right now. So I do have a bad feeling they actually might stay up, but I might sit on the fence. It's too hard to really.
Well, everyone's. Ragsy's the only one who said whether Ipswich are going down or not. No, I don't know. Let's talk about Leicester. Let's talk about Leicester and then let's decide. Let's talk about Leicester and then let's decide. So, Anil, I mean, I already know how you feel because we speak every day and we both are in agreement. We think Leicester City are going down. So, on that basis, would you have Leicester in there and Ipswich just safe?
I think Wolves will survive, but Leicester are definitely going down. The only thing that can change my mind if Leicester not to go down is we do get some high profile signing between now and the end of the window. And I'm not even sure who that could really be to make that big a difference. Like, find it interesting that Cannon hasn't gone yet. And I'm just calling it out here. Emmanuel Latela hasn't yet left Middlesbrough. I wonder if there's something to, because that would be a wise signing. He could make it now. He would be good in the Championship, etc., etc. For me, I'll still say, like, I think we just need like like what Forest did with Murillo or Milinkovic or something like that. That's what you need. You need like a centre back that comes in and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, we don't concede anymore. Now we can score goals because we don't concede. That would make the biggest difference in my opinion. But I don't know, we should have had this player lined up immediately. We don't. So they're going to come in. So no, I just can't see it. Like 7 losses in a row. The underlying data is awful. Best players are out for a long time. I really wish it wasn't the case, but it just doesn't look good. And do you know what I think is the saddest thing of all is that normally amongst your own fan base, you still have people that are optimistic. But then sometimes I think it's good to go like neutral. What does like the neutral fan think? And the neutral fan in the Premier League is like, God, Leicester are awful. Did these guys really win the championship? Normally the team that wins the championship have got a little something about them, but you would think Ipswich have won the championship based on the way that this season's gone so far, because at least they look like they're doing something. The amount of times that have like texted me after there's been a game on Sky and then we're like, good God, that you lot are a crock of shit. And you're like, well, what can you say? They're not wrong, are they? So
well, that's the thing. They only finished a point behind us in the end. Ipswich, after the collapse that we had at the end of the season. So, yeah, I don't know, Ragsy. I mean, it does, like Anil said, probably all come down to the transfer window, right? If we did pull out a really big signing or a couple good signings, then our chances would be improved. But all we can go off at the minute is that we aren't getting any of them signings, right? And on that basis, we're probably going to go down.
I mean, all roads are probably leading to that, as to what Anil's just summed up to.
All roads lead to relegation. What I'm saying,
stream just sort of trying to just eventually come to what everybody else is thinking, and it was all pointless. But yeah, we still go through it just for the sake of it. However, I mean, this is probably my heart leading, and it is biased, but we're on the Leicester City podcast, so fucking do one if you're not interested in bias. But what I would say, first of all, despite everything that's going on, we still do have players to come back into this side. Hermansen, Ndidi, Ricardo. Vatu, I have no idea, but I doubt. It'll be a miracle if he plays any games this season, but I don't see it. Those 3 can instantly make a difference in terms of physicality, mentality, just a settlement to it. And just based on the fact that I don't think really, I see 5 teams that are just not going to get clear of us. Even how shit we are, I just don't think they're going to zoom ahead, because they are just shit. And we do have a run towards the end of the season where if we can somehow just stay with that pack, then there is a chance that we might actually stumble across the line, and it will just sort of just a walrus just sort of clawing its way. But it is wishful thinking, but it is. And also one more thing, I just think maybe with these protests, I think for fans that want to participate, and I fully endorse it, I think the air of frustration could actually be vented outside the stadium. And everybody makes their point, they put their stance in, and then they go into the game and it's solely focused on the team just to go and back them. I don't know any sort of situation for all the other clubs and stuff. Maybe Wolves could do something like that as well. Maybe Ipswich could band together, just for the sake of it, being why not? We'll just go out with a hurrah at least or something. But for us, that could happen. So that's why, just with my heart leading, that we might actually do it, as shit as we are.
Josh, after all of that from Ragsy, Leicester going down?
Yeah, I think we are. I didn't expect that from Ragsy, but I like the positivity from it. I think you know what we need. We need a Robert Huth to come in, and I don't know who it's going to be now, but we just need someone to come in, someone who can lead the team, because one thing we don't have is any leaders on the pitch as well, which, everyone says Connor Cody is, but I don't really have it, to be fair. You see the thing today, another PR stunt from the club talking about the togetherness and whatnot.
Read the room, guys. Jesus, yeah.
It's bad. And it's the thing with Stavacek as well. It's bad time. Anyway, I'm going off on a random thing. But I think in terms of the squad, I think the players coming back is definitely going to improve us, but I think in terms of the feel around the whole club, it's just I think it would take more of a miracle than it did in 2014-15. And I know we're better off in terms of our points, but there was no protest then. There was no, everyone was kind of a bit more accepting towards relegation. Then I think we all expected it this year, but I just think in terms of the board and everything, it's just all accumulated now into a bit of a mess. But yeah, I think it's hard to judge. Conor, yeah, he is sticking at centre back there, but that's what I mean. We just need a few players, but that's what I mean. We can say it depends on who we get, but are we going to get anyone? It's very unlikely, and the teams around us are strengthening. So as of right now, I'd say we are down here.
So after all that chat, weighing up everything you guys have said, I am feeling that I am kind of feeling this. I think back-to-back years of the three that got promoted, getting relegated. Let's just talk on this. Let's end it with this, and everybody in the chat, please get your comments in as well about this. If that is the three that go down, do you think that is the order as well? The most, do you think it will be Ipswich, Leicester, Southampton, or do you think maybe Leicester will pick up enough points towards the end of the season with that easy? Because we play both of these teams right come the end of the season, which is a shame because you'd want to be maybe playing an Everton. I think we play Wolves as well, actually. But yeah, is that the order that you would have it in a nil?
Yes.
Not that one. Sorry, this one like that.
Yeah, sadly, yes.
Bragsy, I know you said that you didn't want. Sorry, that you think Leicester might stay up, but go on, mate.
Yeah,
be honest.
I mean, I can't really fight against that. I'm just sort of like it's a heart leading on, but like you think of your head, you take the bias out, and then it's like it's just leading to relegations. But I will say I do think it'll be 18th. I think it could come down to the last day. I just think Ipswich. I don't think they've got the plans in place and stuff, and I just don't think like that sort of team chemistry is there, and I don't think McKenna has the answers there. So I think it would be Ipswich in 19th and us in 18th.
Josh, any arguments? Yeah, any because there's a comment here, Josh. Manoj says, bloody hell, that's grim. Who is the shittest Super League at the bottom? Because I saw somebody as well. I can't remember what I was watching. I was listening to something today. And I can't remember what it was. Somebody spoke about, it's kind of almost now like a division in a division. You know what I mean? It's like a shit division in the Premier Division. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's horrible. It's sad though, isn't it? Like the last two seasons, that's one thing. Like if you compare these three to the three last year, I think the last year's is somehow even worse than these. But based on the position, I think Leicester will come 18th. I think we will pick up a little bit towards the end, but I think it'll be a little bit, short. To be honest, I think them fixtures at the end, if we have some sort of hope, there is hope in terms of the games we have at the end. But I think, I saw a screenshot of the games you have coming up, the horrible one. It's, I don't know, but I say 18th, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, somebody's put here, Tony says, will we get 25 points? I mean, we're on 14 points now. And when we got relegated, am I right in saying it was 32 points?
Yeah. Well, I don't think we're going to get 32 points this season.
This is what I'm saying. Where the hell are we getting to 32 points?
Yeah.
I can't see it at all. I can't see it. And I don't know if you knew this, guys, but last season's worst ever Premier League three, the Burnley, Sheffield United and Luton, were on more points than the current bottom three at this point last season. So that shows even more, maybe a bit of both on how shit we've been, but also the quality of the Premier League, how it's improved. It's just the gap's getting bigger and bigger. We had 17 points at the same time. I mean, you always talk about this, Anil. You always talk about this, mate. So what do they say? It's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good. So there we go. According to blue tinted glasses, shit tinted glasses, whatever you want to call us, we are saying that it will be Ipswich, Leicester and Southampton to get relegated, which is very depressing. Josh, mate, what's coming up on Sports YouTube, mate? I know you've just done a live stream, so plug that, and also you'll have a vlog as well. I saw. We have a Spurs vlog, I think you said, coming out.
Yeah, I'll be at Tottenham on Sunday, so that should be eventful. I'm going to try and do a bit more behind the scenes stuff on the actual away day itself, because I think the football is probably going to ruin it. But you never know. But just like Locke said, I did a stream before this, kind of going in depth, having a little rant about the board. So if you're interested in some more positive Leicester content, to go.
Lovely stuff. Ragsy, mate, talk Leicester City, Foss Hub, whatever you're in, whatever your fingers are in these. Oh, that's
yeah. I was totally time away on my fingers.
Whatever pies your fingers are in these days.
It's even more grim than our
Yeah.
relegation hopes. Jesus, oh my god. But yeah, just be on Voss Hub. Just we'll try and do a stream if there is any transfer news updates. But it's looking pretty bleak. And then probably like a full post-match reaction for Tottenham as well. So check us out on that.
Lovely stuff. Anil, mate, obviously the analysis is out there on the channel from last night, so that's a nice watch. Tell people about the analysis, mate, if they haven't seen it.
There's a lot of looking at why our defense is so bad and what the hell are Victor Christensen and Steffi Mabadidi doing, letting the opposing winger have the entire freedom of the King Power Stadium to themselves. Don't get that one. That'd be an easy fix, in my opinion, and make a big difference. But what have we got coming up on Blue Tinted Glasses? Or tomorrow we've got the match preview. Luke's doing that. He's looking forward to going just through the injury list. That'll probably take 10 minutes by itself just for Spurs. So that's an interesting one. But we'll look at that. I mean, it's funny. That's a game that I think a few matches ago I would have thought we had no chance. But all of a sudden, I mean, look, we're in awful form. But you got to say, I think we probably do have some sort of shot there just because, we've got an entire first team out. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I just saw Papa Sarr's now out as well, apparently. So they are.
Wow.
I've just seen a Tottenham fan saying, I'm legit going to stick 20 quid on us getting relegated. So there we go. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, match preview tomorrow. And then I don't know what's happening Friday. So yeah, just stay tuned. But yeah. All right, then. Cheers all. Thanks, Anil. Thanks, Josh. Thanks, Ragsy. Thanks to everybody who's watched. Make sure to hit the like button before you leave. Make sure to hit subscribe. And we will see you tomorrow for the match preview. Bye-bye.